Viewers, it's my privilege and honor to have Professor R Vaidyanathan back. We have some very new, interesting developments in Europe. And to talk about it, Professor RV is gracing our channel. Professor RV, namaskaram and welcome to PGurus channel.
Oh, namaskaram. Thanks. Always a great pleasure to be part of the PGurus channel. And the customary request to the audience is to subscribe to it as well as donate so that it reaches the 1 lakh barrier as well as later go to 1 million as
Yes.
it is.
In fact, thanks to all your good wishes, viewers and Professor RV, the pace at which our subscribers are accruing is going up ever so slowly. So we are adding about 5,000 viewers every month as subscribers. But I'd like to see that go to 20,000 or something per month. Then it becomes a really, really easy way. The good news is once the subscription count goes up, our ad revenue goes up, and therefore we are less dependent on you for donations. And once we cross 1 million, believe me, I will tell you, thank you very much. You don't need to donate anymore. We are going to be able to self-sustain this channel. At this point, we are not, but your good wishes are with us, and we thank you for that. Sir, are war clouds looming over Europe? And if the answer is yes, who, in your opinion, is going to be the first one?
I'll just come back to you. Okay. We will be ready by 11:30. Be ready. Okay.
We'll start
now,
again. Yeah,
there is a big amount of crisis. I have been telling for the last 15 years that Europe will be the next major battleground. And I have written also extensively about it. One important point to remember is all the conflicts of the world, starting from time zero, as came from Europe. Europe had crusades, Europe had jihads, Europe had the fight with during the time of Byzantine and during the time of later the Spanish Andalusian Empire between various groups. Substantial amount of fight has been between the Islamic and the Christian in those days. Then we had the First World War, Second World War. There is also 100 years war, one bogus theory created by the church. It was not 100 years, but anyhow, it's called 100 years war. It was only 70 years war. Anyhow, at the end of the 100 years war, there was some sort of an agreement about the so-called territorial integrity of different places. This is how they are. Currently what we call sovereignty came into being. Otherwise, Europe has been a theater of war, particularly the Baltic and Caucasian areas where the animosity goes to something like 18 to 20 generations. Actually, they keep it. They keep the pictures, they keep the drawings and other thing of great grandfathers who fought and then died and other thing. So they are very, very extraordinarily having memory of the past, which is in contrast to people in India, for instance. We don't have memory of the past. So when you don't have a memory of past, then there is no concept of vengeance or trying to provoke the enemy and win another thing. There is practically no memory of the even the atrocities committed by the Mughals. Many people do not even know about it. So we have a ahistorical nation, not anti, but ahistorical nation. We that has its own pluses and minuses. We will come to that separately. Europe had this problem for quite a long period of time. Recently, you might have read in papers or seen in the television. Turkey, for instance, converted an old church into a mosque. This is a church, something like 5th century. It became a church. Actually, it is originally that of the pagan worshippers. If at all, it should have been handed over to somebody like India. Actually, that church, anyhow, that became a matter, and then the Turkish president got the assent from the court, Supreme Court of Turkey, and then converted into. So this is the Hagen thing, and Couple of other churches are also getting converted into mosque. These were, these were for a long period of time churches, and then it is now contested that it's something like our Ram Janam Bhoomi issue, except that it was not demolished. It was only taken over, and then so now the mass prayer is going on there. This Erdogan is, originally he appeared to be secular. Istanbul, around Istanbul, there is a huge amount of fundamentalists, radical Islamists. They were not enthusiastic in supporting him. But slowly Erdogan began to show his enthusiasm for being a radical Islamist. And that is the reason why the Istanbul group is. Otherwise, in Turkey, if you look at many a time, you will find surprising, quite a long number of years, Turkey was applicant to EU, European Union. It was not accepted because a lot of people in Europe were not enthusiastic about admitting Turkey, because they told, how can we have in the center of the European Union or in the southern flank something like an Islamic country like Turkey. So there was a big debate going on, another thing, in between Turkey and the European Union. It was not. But recently, Turkey is taking more a radical Islamic posture. There is also a concern and worry that Erdogan might try to expand his position, and in terms of both the territory, because there are some voices in within the Turkish establishment who say that we should get back our Andalusian or old empire, which and among the invaders, let's be very clear, Turkish were the most brutal and the most barbaric, actually, among all the various type of invaders, followed by, of course, the Mongols and Timur was the next worst, you can call, who has the Karina Kapoor Khan seems to have named her son as Timur. I do not know what type of fascination they have for such barbarians. Anyhow, this Turkey, for instance, the first Khilji came from Turkey. He demolished and destroyed Nalanda, those days one of the greatest universities available. And then he burnt the library. Believe me, a couple of months the library was burning. You can imagine the amount of material which would have been lost because of the brutality of this, the first Khilji. That's the Turks are the worst. Then among the colonialist, one can say the Belgians were the worst, actually. Then followed by Portuguese. Portuguese were the ones who started all this, burning the witches and other type of cruelty. The amount of cruelty they did in Goa is unbelievable, actually, for which there is not, they have not even expressed, the church has not even expressed apologies. Anyhow, followed by Portuguese, then Spanish, then French, then the British. The worst colonizers I'm talking about in terms of ranking. So the Turks have an ambition or a desire to have a very large empire, going back to the Byzantine times or much earlier than Byzantine times, actually. So there's some sort of a caliphate or some sort of a. Actually, Turkey became a very, very relatively a secular nation during the period earlier, and the caliphate took place, and there was a lot of changes. But Turkey is now again sliding back. Huge amount of migrants from various war-torn countries, including Turkey, because of its assault on the Kurds and places like Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq. They have all moved into Europe. The European Union agreed and proportionately allocated, and it's a very interesting thing, actually. And most of these people, unfortunately, are not highly skilled. They are not having any major work in terms of, forget about computer skills. We are talking about other type of skills.
So
yes.
What is Turkey's economy, sir? Where does it make its money? Is it net import?
I will come back to that.
Yeah,
we will come back to that. That's a separate story by itself, right?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Now, these refugees, well, it's a very interesting thing because in 2000, if I remember correctly, Willy Brandt, I think, was in charge of German as chancellor. They wanted to have a scheme of green card for uh, computer specialists from India. They wanted to actually encourage because they felt quite a number of these people are going to US. Why not we get them into Germany? And you know that election, Bavarian chief, Christian Social Party, CS, they actually uh, propagated against this. They told the Indies will take over the jobs of our kinder. So Inder versus kinder. Kinder is their own, children or youngsters. Inder is Indian, and he lost the poll actually. That was a very sensible move. He wanted to give it for a period of 5 years or 10, not citizenship, green cards. That was sabotaged. But now they have taken all these refugees from various countries like Iraq, Yemen, Syria, all these refugees, and they are all uh, housed and put in type of camps and various other places. They are also provided with a lot of welfare measures, including medical, education, and then old age pension, so many things. And there is a resentment among the Europeans. These are all pre-COVID we are talking about, because many of the Europeans feel what we are asked to tighten our belt, and these people are given so much amount of benefit and encouragement. And unemployment is reasonably very high in Europe, running as high as 25 to 30% in some countries. So when unemployment is high, the normal tendency for people is to blame the migrants. There's nothing. All over the world, it is the same thing. Whether it is Bombay, whether it is Bangalore, whether it is Europe. And most of the migrants in this case, as we already saw, are belonging to Islamic faith. So the anti-migrant has become an anti-Muslim thing. Some other places, like Belgium, for instance, 2, 3 towns, they are majority. There is a municipal polls coming in the next few months, and it is expected in Belgium that they will win in that town. Not only that, in Brussels also their percentage is relatively high. If they win, they have promised to bring Sharia law, and this is what is in Holland. The same thing. Holland, actually, there is a political movement. Greet Welder, he is running it. He has also filed a case for banning the holy book of Muslims, Quran. Unbelievable, but he has filed a case. He says that is the one which is the root cause of all the problems of Europe. And you might have read in paper towns like Malmo, towns in various towns in France, towns in England, Londonistan it is called, because the proportion of Islamists are increasing in London. And not only that, currently younger age people, if you take it, people who are less than 10-year-old, 6 out of 10 are named Muhammad in UK. So after 20 years, these people will be coming up, and majority. So in those days, it used to be told by the Alaram, the chief Mufti, that the future of Islam lies in the womb of the woman of Islam. It's not in bullet or anything. Through ballot, we will win. In that context, now there is a major crisis coming between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan is Islamic. Armenia is, Christian, particularly the Orthodox Christian, old.
Yeah.
Armenians, you would have heard about it. In Madras, there is a street called Armenian Street. In Calcutta also, Armenians were there, and they are very well known all over the world. And they were actually massacred by the Turks. There is
First
an
World War.
Armenian.
Yeah.
It's a very huge massacre, and for which Turks have not apologized. Armenians have been demanding that the Turks should apologize. Anyhow, there is a small enclave within Azerbaijan, technically controlled by Azerbaijan, Nagorno-Karabakh, it is called. It was part, both Armenia and Azerbaijan were part of the old USSR, and Stalin gave this Nagorno-Karabakh separate sort of important. Anyhow, that is within Azerbaijan, but more of Armenians are there. Currently, it is what you call controlled by Armenian, but Azerbaijan has got de jure. So there is a conflict which has started. Last couple of days, some 16-20 people have been killed on the Armenian side. It could escalate. And earlier in 2016, there was a big war between the two sides. Now you look at the map. I'm sure you can look at the map. From Azerbaijan, you go through the route, then you have Kazakhstan, you have Tajikistan, you have then you reach actually Afghanistan, Pakistan, and China. So there is a new alliance coming, Pakistan, Turkey, and China. And this is the biggest possible threat which is perceived by NATO, that the entire southern and eastern flank will be occupied by radical Islamists. This is the concern of them. And Erdogan is doing everything to instigate this. As somebody told, he wants to become the king of the caliphate of the Europe. He has got larger ambition and other things. And the best way, country like India, of course, has to go with Armenia. And Armenians have always supported India, even in the case of Kashmir, for instance. So it is, it's a global scene is changing completely. One doesn't know what is the role of Saudi in this alliance of Turkey with Azerbaijan, and then Pakistan, and then China, and of course Russia. Russia and Turkey have got the very strong bonds and other things. So this is something very, very interesting, new developing actually. And traditionally, Saudi has not gone with these people, Turkey. And Iran is maybe siding toward Turkey also. It's quite possible. But Iran is actually Shia. Pakistan is Sunni. There is some dynamics inside. So the emerging scenario is very, very grave. And you would have also read reports about France where that Charlie Hebdo, that case is going on, that old cartoon, and because of that, so much amount of violence in Paris by the radical Islamists. And recently also there was a violence in terms of knifing of people by the radical Islamists. So they are very upset that the case is going to be taken up and the culprits are going to be punished. And that cartoon magazine has again republished the same cartoon of what they perceive to be the greatest insult to their prophet. So every town, every small places, Malmo in the north, Sweden, to Winchester in the south, England, is Marseille, and various other towns are having their own enclave, what is commonly known as no-go zone for the cops. Police are not expected to enter those zones. And those zones are Sharia zones, it's called in Europe. So the radical Islam is not going to fight the traditional Christianity. Let's be very clear about it. Christianity is over in Europe. 7% only attend churches even on a Sunday. Forget about other days and other things. It's a agnostic type of a place. What this radical Islam is upset is about European, their what is called modernism. Europeans are for homosexuality, they are for abortion, they are for premarital sex, they are for multiple type of divorce, marriage and other things. All these are anathema to the radical Islam. They cannot accept any of these things. So they feel the Europeans are the worst. That's the reason why, kindly note, they attacked the Twin Towers of US. They didn't go and attack any cathedral or church or anything. So they are not with the old, anti-Christian type of a thing. They are against modernism. So the European modernism is something they cannot digest. And these people have gone. Originally, it was told multiculturalism will flourish. But later, the Merkel, who is the Chancellor of Germany, has announced that multiculturalism has failed. It's not possible for multiculturalism to flourish in European context. India, it can flourish for the simple reason, traditionally, Indians have always not tolerated, accepted other type of religion, other type of cultures, other type of faith. But in the case of Europe, it's a question of tolerating only, and it's not going to. So we think in the next couple of years, it will explode. It will explode. And unfortunately, US cannot send using computers missiles to Europe because it will kill large number of white people also. So they have to keep their boots in Europe, and US won't be enthusiastic because every body bag which comes back to US is a very, very major political issue and a crisis. They don't want any one US citizen to die in wars and other things. So what will happen? They may ask India to send its troops, and they may give this United Nations Council membership as a crumb or as a bone to India.
You mean Security Council? You mean Security Council?
Security Council. So India should be very careful. We have lost huge number of people in the First World War. The Second World War, one of the British commander told, we will fight the Germans until the last Indian. That's what happened. Quite a number of Indians died again in Singapore, in Egypt, in various other places in the Second World War. I don't think we should take any role at all in this conflict which is emerging in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And very, very interesting days ahead. Let's see how things play out. You know, in the name of US elections, the whole world is up to mischief. That's all I can say. Namaskaram, Dr. And namaskaram, Professor R V, and we'll be back soon.
Yeah, sure.